Adams, and it's from Amy Jensen of Council Bluffs. How long have you supported gay marriage and LGBT equality?
As we have the cameras, Amy. When I was at Drake in the mid-90s, there was a gentleman that lived next door to me. And like most people that go to college, that's an awakening experience. You're able to learn about yourself and other people. There are some people that had never met an African American before, which is shocking to me, but that was reality. Well, up until that point, I had not known anyone to be gay. Quite possibly I could have, but I was unaware. So Troy is his name. And Troy and I developed a relationship, and we really grew in that relationship to really get to understand each other. But there was one day that I was going to sell Troy a speaker. Now, remember, this is college, right? I'm going to sell Troy a speaker of mine. But we needed to get some cables from an audio visual store, right? An AV store. So we go to the store, high-end store, because Troy not like nice stuff. And we go to the store. They never visit with us. They never talk to us. Troy, unbeknownst to him, had never experienced any type of prejudice or racism. So Troy was totally thrown back. He said, "Well, this is not right." Well, Troy, I mean, you are gay. Don't you experience this? He said, "Well, no, because I'm not flamboyant or because people don't see that I'm gay." I said, "Well, Troy, I don't have that luxury. I don't have that luxury." But it was in those conversations that actually spawned an entire dialogue in our dorm floor that allowed us to really understand the challenges that each of us experience. And so I would say that it was during my collegiate experience, over 20 years ago, give or take, that I really started to have a deeper appreciation for folks that are not like me, that happen to be gay or lesbian or transgender or any other difference of sexual orientation outside of my own. So I support their effort. As I mentioned earlier, I will not discriminate, but that's sort of where my understanding came from.
How long have you supported gay marriage and LGBT equality?
Well, I have, luckily I'm young enough, I've never had to evolve on this issue as some have. And I know it's we've come a long way in a very short period of time. But I have always supported marriage equality and LGBT equality. And my personal experience with this issue, working at the Pentagon, when I first met with the Secretary of the Army, John McHugh, when I began in the Obama administration, he asked me what the one thing that he thought that we should accomplish, we could accomplish, that was a top priority while I was at the Pentagon. And I said, we need to get rid of don't ask, don't tell. Because when I served in the Army, there were people, soldiers, that I knew, who was friends with, and I knew they were hiding who they really were. And they were putting their life on the line for the country, and we did not accept who they were and who they loved, and that was unacceptable. And the Secretary said, I think that's great. I think it's gonna be really difficult. We're gonna need to pass it through Congress. It's gonna be tough. I just don't know if we're gonna be able to do it. And I said, well, I sure hope you're wrong, Mr. Secretary. It's something I think should be a top priority. Well, when this debate was happening in Congress, Congress asked the Pentagon to produce a report that would tell them if getting rid of don't ask, don't tell, and allowing people to serve openly in the military would affect military readiness. This term is thrown around quite a bit, military readiness. The military is a very unique organization, it's a unique culture, and with putting this change into place, would it somehow mess up the military? I knew all the individuals who had been appointed to create this report to send to Congress, and it was my understanding that there was all unanimous, except for one general, who said it would not affect military readiness. And I happen to have worked with this general previously on a specific topic. He's a 3-star general who spent his entire career in the Army. I'd don't want to share his name. But I went and talked to him, and I told him my personal experience with this issue. And I told him how important it was as we move forward as a military, as a country, to ensure that this was the policy. And when the report came out, it was unanimous that we should get rid of don't ask, don't tell. We should allow every single American who wants to serve their country to do so and publicly express who they really are.
How long have you supported gay marriage and LGBT equality?
To understand what my thoughts are on this, you have to understand a little bit of my background and my family history. My mother was from Mobile, Alabama. I was born in Montgomery, Alabama. And my father was from Chicago. So that was an interesting mix of cultures to begin with. Matter of fact, I grew up, as I said, near the fairgrounds. In the late 1950s, it was a challenge getting grits in Des Moines, Iowa. But we would go on summer vacation to Mobile, and we would visit my mom's family. And I still recall, as we traveled through the countryside in the southern part of the United States, I actually witnessed this, where you had a drinking fountain for a white and for a black. And I never understood discrimination. My parents did not allow it in the household because their belief was it was a stupid person. A stupid person because, Michael, you're no better than anyone else. You believe that everyone has equal rights, and you believe that everyone is equal, no matter what their position in life, no matter who they love, no matter what their sexual orientation is. You're no better than anyone else. And that basis of what I believe in as far as my life and how I treated people, my own personal experience, I've interacted with every individual in society and tried to treat them as individually. I strongly adhere to Martin Luther King's philosophy that it's the content of the character that makes the difference. It's not anything that people say about other individuals. It's what that individual is and their character. So I guess you could say from a childhood education, I've been believing in their rights and their ability to. And I think it's not a story that ends. It continues. It continues and it continues. And I'll support their, not only their rights, but the problems that are inherent in our society that discriminate against those rights.